video because I forgot to show you guys live examples on the charts. I remember someone said, "Oh, this is all great, but I want to see that on the chart." Exactly. Let's look right here on the Nasdaq. Can you identify the imbalance? I'm gonna pause it really quick. Give you 3 seconds. You should be able to identify these imbalances immediately, right? So if you start from the downtrend, prices making lower lows and lower highs, we see that there's imbalances. There's little gaps in the market, right? That's your imbalance, right? You have some imbalance. This one, if you draw your horizontal line, this one connects, right? That's very balanced. Pretty much connects. Not 100%, but it's pretty much there. And then price decides to move up higher, and this time it doesn't connect. It does not connect. Right? There's a little gap right in there. Right? But just because you have an imbalance doesn't mean the price has to come back to it. It can come back to it. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. I like to use imbalances on the higher time frames. Like for an example, we're not going to the higher time frame yet, but just an example of how imbalances can be used. We had this huge one right here. This huge gap. Huge gap. And notice how price came right into it and continued the uptrend. Continued the uptrend. Okay, same thing down here. You'll see this happen very often. We have this candle here. We had an imbalance right over here, this gap, and price came right into it. So if I draw a line from that wick and then draw a line at this wick, right in there, price did all this. It did all this and then it came right back down to your imbalance and then took off. Right? It's happened over and over. Happens over and over. This one didn't quite make it. Did it make it? Right? There's a huge imbalance right here. Did price make it? It barely got to it. Barely touched it. Sheesh. Barely. And then flew. Right? You're going to see these examples over and over and over. Just go ahead and back test this for yourself. Don't just take my word for it. Some candles don't have a wick. If they don't have a wick, that's fine. Just still draw a line at the body. Boom. Boom. Right? Price came into the imbalance multiple times and then flew off. Yeah, just keep looking at this for yourself. I can give you guys examples all day. Right? There's another imbalance here. No wicks are connecting. Right? This wick doesn't connect with this one. Right? And then price takes off. Fills right in, gone. I always like to use 3 candles. Right? You have the first candle, the middle one, that's the imbalance, and then the last one. And then I always try and connect the wicks, but if they don't connect, there's a gap. And it's very obvious. Once you get an eye for it, you'll be able to obviously tell. Like any long candles, obviously are imbalances, right? Imbalances, right? You'll see it. And if there's a gap like this where there's no candle, it's still an imbalance. You would still mark up the wicks. You still mark up the wicks. That's still imbalance, but it just didn't show. And again, sometimes imbalances will get ran through. That's fine. That's why I don't use them too much. And if I do use them, I like to use them on the higher time frames because it just holds more weight. Anything on the higher time frame just holds more weight. Let's go to the monthly really quick. Look at the monthly chart. So look for some imbalances on the monthly. As you see here, there was an imbalance right in here. Huge candle. Huge candle. And if you look at the wicks, did they connect? No. They don't connect, so that's an imbalance. But as you see, price did all this on the monthly time frame. 1 month, 2 months, 3, 4, 5 months. Took 5 months. Price came all the way back down to this imbalance and then took off. right? But just because we have an imbalance doesn't mean we have to come back to it, right? There's several imbalances here. All this, right? We have this huge gap in the middle. Price never came back. We have another one here. Price never came to this imbalance. But then we have one here. Price did right there. Perfectly flew. And then it came all the way back again. Came all the way back again. Right? Boom. Still respected it. Still respected it. As long as a full body candle doesn't close beneath the imbalance, right, then it's still valid. If it just wicks into it, it's good. But if a full body candle closes over the imbalance, then it's no longer valid. This imbalance has been liquidated. It's been cooked onto the next, onto the lower one. But that didn't happen. And that's why price continued the way that it did.